Welcome back to our training. I'm Engineer Faith Sedu, your anchor person for this training on data analysis, and we are currently looking at structured query language. In our last class, we talked on SQL syntax principles, and we said syntax is the structure of statements in a computer language, how it is arranged, and how you send your comment or instruction or query to the database to get the required or desired result. So for this class, we'll be looking at SQL aggregations. SQL aggregations, what we shall be looking at for this class. Now, what are SQL aggregations? SQL aggregations are simply the functions that calculate on a set of values and return a single value. They include count, sum, that is summation, minimum, maximum, and average. There are others. So it's simply the means through which computations are done in SQL. So we are going to briefly be looking at some of these SQL aggregations. The first one here is count. So count, the command that gives a distinct, it's an aggregation that gives a distinct count of attributes. So for instance, you want to find out the number of, okay, for instance, we have an example here, select count first name as first name from actor table. When you run this query, it will give you the number of first names that you have from the actor table. So you use this to get a result that has to do with numbers using the count aggregation. Next, we have the sum. Sum adds up the value in integer column. We already talked about integer as being a column that have numerical values. So sum adds up those values in the integer columns. We have an example here, select sum amount as total amount from payment. You know, we have payment table in our DVD rental database. So when you're trying to sum up the total amount from the payment table using this command, it gives you the total amount paid from the payment table. So you do this using the sum aggregation command. And then next we have the minimum and the maximum that return the minimum and the maximum values of the column data set. You want to find out the minimum amount paid, the maximum amount paid or minimum of any value in the data set. You can use the minimum or the max. Example, you have this minimum amount as minimum amount for payment, return the lowest amount paid by a customer. You can try this, they are easy enough. There's no time we have looked at this together, so you can try it and probably just share your screenshot on our platform. So let's interact more on the platform and learn together from them. So average computes the average value of the set of values from the data set. So example, select average amount as average amount for payment to return the average amount paid by the customer. So all of these are possible. Please try them, each and every one of them. Try them and then share your screenshot on the platform. If you have any issue, you can always ask questions and we'll look at them. So we have an example here. So things to note under aggregation. What are the things to note? Aggregate functions always use parentheses. Please take note. Aggregate functions always use this. Always use this. Remember, I told you these are functions that we use mainly to carry out computations. So we always use this. Columns must be alias using as command. So next, we're looking at the logical operators. Logical operators are SQL functions that return true or false. We already looked at this in our earlier class. They return true or false values or combine two or more true or false values. So logical operators include and, or, and not. So and, the first one here, and compares two Boolean expressions and returns true when both are true. Example, select from where actor ID is less than 5 and actor ID is greater than 2. returns row where the actor ID is less than 5 or greater than 2. So this is they are trying to tell you when you can use and. You are looking at, you are comparing to get a single value. So you're looking at where actor ID is less than 5. That's the first you're looking at, and then actor ID is less than 2. So the comparison of these two rules out every row that has actor ID as less than 5, and then rules out anyone that has actor ID as greater than 2. So next we're looking at the logical operator. So this compares two Boolean expression and return true when both one of them is true. When both one of them is true. Example, select star from actor where actor ID is less than 5, or actor ID is greater than 2. Returns row where the actor ID is less than 5 or greater than 2. So remember, they call this logical operator. So that means you have to really think about them to understand the operations. Next, we have the not. The not logical operator takes a single Boolean expression and changes its value from false to true or true to false. Example, select star from actor ID, where actor ID equals to 5. Returns row where the actor ID is not equal to 5 means not this here means it is not equal to 5, means not equal to 5. I hope you got it. Select from asterisk from actor where actor ID is not equal to 5. Returns row where the actor ID is not equal to 5. So that is for the not logical operator. So that is that for SQL aggregations. We have a little assignment. Execute the following queries. Total amount paid by customers that paid above $5, please. Do this and paste on the platform. Don't send it to me directly, just put it on the platform. Look at it together. Total number of customers in the payment table. Number of distinct staff ID in the payment table. Please, all of these, just put them on the platform as you execute them. I'll be looking out to see the result of this queries. So next we'll be looking at special operators. And remember, formerly we talked about logical operators. So this is special operator. The first one we are going to be looking at is in. The in operator checks a value within a set of values. Excuse me, please. So the in operator checks the value within a set of values separated by commas and retrieve the rows from the table which are matching. Example, select star. You just try all of these to make more sense. If you try to execute these queries using the example, select star for actor where actor ID in 2, 3, 4, 5. Returns row where the actor ID is 2, 3, 4, or 5. So this is taking you to the rows as indicated here. So it returns the rows. So and then that means it does not give you. Now, when you look at your actor table, it's comprehensive. It carries a lot of information. So by the time you start making this special selection, you're picking out certain values that is of interest to you, or rather that are of interest to you from the actor table. So in this case, it's not just the value, it's a certain row. That is, we are looking at the rows where the actor ID is equal to 2, 3, 4, or 5. So that's where the in operator is special operator comes into view. So next we have the between. So the SQL between operator tests an expression against a range. The range consists of a beginning followed by an and keyword and an end expression. So you have a range that is from here, and there. So for instance, we have select from actor ID between 2 and 5. Returns row where the actor ID is less than 5 or greater than 2. I hope we got that. So that's the range. The range is down 25. So we have another assignment here. What are other SQL special operators? This assignment, this particular assignment is very important. Listen to the videos. So you can send these special operators. You can drop it on the platform as well. All assignments for this week should be dropped. The ones I mentioned politically should be, these ones I mentioned politically should be dropped on the platform. Temporary tables. Temporary tables exist temporarily on the server. They get deleted once the last connection to the server is closed. So temporary tables are very useful in scenarios where we have a large number of rows, a permanent database table, and we have to frequently use some rows of this table. So you can select those specific rows which we need again and again from the permanent table into a temporary table and run queries on more efficiently. I hope you get this, where you have a large number of rows to work with from the permanent table, and then instead of you going to work in that large number of rows, just pick the temporary tables and then you select the tables that are of interest to you into the temporary table. Work out your queries on the temporary tables. At the moment your selection those temporary tables gets deleted. So they can be created in two ways. One, you can create the table first and then set values, or secondly, you can create it by selecting records from the permanent table. So that's where we are going to limit on this process. Next, we'll be looking at case statements. SQL case statement is like an if-then-else statement. It goes through conditions and returns a value when the first condition is met. So once a condition is true, it will stop reading and return the result. If no conditions are true, it returns the value in the else clause. So if there is no else part and no conditions are true, it returns a null value. So these are the syntax for the case statement. When condition 1, then results 1. When condition 2, then results 2. When condition n, then result n. Else result n, meaning null result or null result. So when condition 1 is this, then this will be result 1. When condition 2 is this, then this will be result 2. When condition 3 is this, then when condition n is this, then this will be the end result. That then else when condition n is this, where these conditions cannot be met, you understand, where the conditions cannot be met and you have the else clause, then you know that you have the very result in null value. Example. This, you can try this. I wish there was time. But first try this together. Select actor ID is when actor ID is equal to 2, then actor 2. I think I'll just look for a special another class and just do some of these practicals with us, not in this particular one. I'll still share with us. But for now, let's just go through this. So I'll try to get another class where I can do this practical, just mainly the practicals, because that can give you carrying out your own. So this are the example. Just in the meantime, just follow through this example using your DVD rental database and see what you can come up with. So the date function, SQL date functions are functions that query and transform date, time, and timestamp columns. So common date functions include date difference, date add, current date, and other functions used to extract date back and convert time zone. So we have examples here, which you can also try. So we have an assignment here. What are the types of SQL-based formats? You can also answer this and drop on the platform. So thank you for staying with me to the end of this class for today. I hope you learned it. Like I said, I'm going to look for an opportunity to just do another practical tutorial like we did after the installation of our PostgreSQL. So I'm going to look at how to put together that practical video tutorials to aid us some of the things we have just looked at now. But in the meantime, just try to do what you can on your own. And then the assignment that are supposed to be answered on the platform, please do enable me know how well you're coping and know your areas of difficulty and know where to step in and assist you. Feel free to reach out to me if you can. And hope to see you in the next class. Thank you for staying with me.